That's good, isn't it? Nice to know something's working. Right. I need a volunteer. Mhm, mhm. I need a volunteer. I need a volunteer. Someone who is brave. Someone who knows I might say go and do the washing up, but I'm not going to say do the washing up. Need a volunteer. I think we have a volunteer. Someone has been voluntold over there to come and be a volunteer. It's actually quite easy. It's really, really easy. All you have to do is sit in a chair. Come on then. Out you come. What could possibly go wrong? Is that expensive? Hang on, I'll just check. 40 degrees. That's fine. Machine washable. This.
Haircut.
There you go. You're right. It's fine. So far. And you don't need to read this. That's fine. Just should be enough, I think.
That's right.
That's good. Okay. And the rest of it. Ah. All good things come to he who waits, eh? I need a second volunteer. Oh! I wonder who might be a second volunteer. Okay. Well, actually, we have a second volunteer up here. But in fact, no, I tell you what. Hang on. Would you like to come down? And would you like to come across? Come on. Right. Do you want to hold that one? There we go. Can you tell where this might be going? Right. Okay. If you can stand over here. Stand over here in a line. Stand over here in a line. Okay. Right. On the count of 3, okay, I want you to do whatever comes naturally with the cream pies in your hands. Okay, ready? Okay. That will be 1, 2. Hang on. Now then, you have a choice. You can either go ahead with decorating Daniel here, or there's something else you can do. I'm going to offer you for you to share between you a pack of Mars bars. Right. So you have a choice. Would you like to go ahead and decorate Daniel, or would you like to share a pack of Mars bars together? Step back a little bit. Okay. This. No. Would you like to share a pack of Mars bars together? All right. Okay. Okay. On the count of three. It's a one. It's a two. Hang on. Okay, you have a choice. You wait for it. I haven't told you the choices yet. You have a choice. You can either decorate your diff. It didn't work like this in rehearsal, I tell you. Anyway, okay. You can either decorate Daniel in such manner as you find appropriate, or you can have not only a pack of Mars bars, you get bar. Step up back a bit keen. She is keen, isn't she? Okay. And so not only the Mars bars, you also get the cake bars to share between you. So what are you going to have? Both the Mars bars and the cake. Bear in mind, if you want it once, you don't get these. Is that what you really want? Okay. On the count. This isn't going as we planned it. This is not going as we planned it, is it? I'm not sure this is going to. Okay, right. On the count of three. It's a one. It's a two. It's oh, hang on a minute. One last shot here. It is not. Right. You either decorate Daniel, or you have a pack of Mars bars, a pack of cakes, and it's trump card here. This is the trump card. Whispers. Pack of whispers. Okay. So, what do you want? Do you really, really want? Okay, right. Just. I thought the whispers would do it. If the Mars bars didn't, I thought the whispers were going to do it. Right. I am going to pull rank here. Not that we do this in the Baptist church. And I'm going to tell you what you want, what you really, really want. Okay? What you want, what you really, really want, is to share the chocolate between you and let your father go, yes, you do. So can you kindly put the cream pies down on the table? Help! Terry! Oh, no. I think, whoops, the whisper's on the floor. That's no good. I think this, as an illustration, this hasn't quite according to plan, has it? However, ladies, I think for the sake of decorum in the church, but you know where they are after the service, just saying. Okay, we'll put these down here, and you can take the chocolate with you. Off you go. Oh, so disappointed. So pick whichever pack you want, guys. Thank you. Didn't they do well? And thank you, Daniel. You can go on your way. Okay. That didn't quite work as I intended, unfortunately. Yes, Mary's good thinking, Batman. Yes. That didn't quite work as I intended, because I kind of thought that the prospect of chocolate would have dissuaded whoever happened to be the volunteers from trying to custard pie poor Daniel there. And clearly, I'm not particularly good at bribing young children, am I? So maybe that's a good thing. However, there is something else that we need to consider on this one. So, guys, you can share those whispers or whatever you got with your sister. There we go, niece, nephew, whichever. Anyway, the whole idea, such there was any idea behind that at all, other than getting Daniel with a custard pie in his face, the whole idea was actually something of an opportunity cost. Do you go for something that immediately will cause you a degree of pleasure? Putting a cream pie in Daniel's face. I can't imagine it myself, to be fair, but there we go. Or do you go for something which is actually more productive, better, longer? A pack of chocolate. And what was supposed to be happening there that you would have seen that eventually the immediate gratification lost out to the long-term gain. So you have to imagine that the children received the bribe in the manner in which it was intended and chose the long-term gain over the short-term gratification. So that was what that was all about, even if it went horribly wrong. Okay. But we find in today's reading, in today's passage, David had a similar sort of choice, much more profound than the custard pie, but had the choice of whether he went for the short-term gain or the long-term. And he chose the long-term. We are given in the passage so many clues about how easy it would have been for David to kill Saul at that time. And if not him, then his trusty lieutenant, who was boasting how well he would do the job, boasting how well he could do this. Oh, I won't need a second go at this, he says. Let me at him. And not only was it easy to get into camp, it seems that God was on everyone's side. Let's have them all in a deep sleep. And David and his colleagues went up to where Saul was sleeping. And in case they had forgotten their own weapons, there was Saul's own spear. It could not have been easier. It was actually easy for David and his companions to sneak into Saul's camp and to kill him. It was easier than actually putting a cream pie in Daniel's face. But David said, no, this is not what we're doing here. This is not what we're doing. Now, if you think about this in the context of David's story, where are we? We already know that David has been anointed, is expecting to be king. We already know that Saul is pursuing him for his life out of jealousy or whatever. We know that God has rescinded his grace and authority from King Saul at this point. Surely, this is just a matter of sealing the deed. It's all been decided. We know what's going to happen. All that needs to happen is for Saul to die, and then the work of God continues through the person of David. How hard can it be? So what stayed David's hand? Well, it wasn't Mars bars, was it? You can see how effective they are. Even whispers don't seem to do this. No, it was something much more powerful that stayed David's hand, when it would have seemed absolutely the obvious thing to do to kill Saul. In fact, I think if you look in the passage, there are 3 reasons why David is standing with his companions by the sleeping Saul, and yet Saul saw another morning. First one is what David says himself, the law of the Lord. How dare we, big pun, how dare we? How dare we do anything to the person that God has chosen? And for everything I've just said about we know what's going to happen, David knows he's already been anointed. David has some idea of what's going to happen in future. Obviously, we've read it, we're looking back, we know what happens later on. But at this point, David has an understanding that he will take the throne. But he goes, the law of the Lord. God has put Saul on the throne. And whether we don't like it, and whether we know that God's grace has been rescinded from Saul, that's not the point. As far as David is concerned, it is God's authority that is still keeping Saul on the throne. How dare he go against God's authority, the law of God? So the first thing is the law, an understanding of God's will as perfect and absolute. Secondly, he takes the long view. The long view. If this is going to happen, then God will make it happen. He knows that Saul needs to die in order for him to receive the kingdom for himself. But he also knows not to push it too much. Now, last year sometime, we looked at the patriarchs of the Hebrew people and discovered they were a pretty rum lot. And none so rum as Abraham, the father of the Hebrew people, the one with whom God made his covenant. He also had a promise, a bit like David, the promise that he knew about. David's promise that he would inherit the kingdom of Israel. Abraham's promise that there would be an Israel anyway, that there would be a Hebrew people, that he would have descendants. So they're both there with a promise hanging over their head, a promise from God, knowing this is going to happen. But the difference is, Abraham, of course, pushes it and makes a terrible mistake, takes advantage of Sarah's slave who gets pregnant and produces Ishmael. And God goes, this wasn't my plan. This wasn't my plan. Did you not listen? And at that point, we have the beginnings of a conflict between two peoples. David, on the other hand, steps back from this, doesn't force the issue, doesn't go, aha, this is what God must have meant, in the way that Abraham did. He steps back and waits. And that's the second reason he doesn't kill Saul at this moment. And a third one, much as I'm very critical of David, and I've been from here before, if he is a person of faith, he lets it show in how he lives his life. If he has put his trust in God, he lets it show in how he lives his life. It has got to have been the harder decision to not kill Saul. He's there in front of you. Even his own companion said, look, there he is. It'll only take one. And it must have been the harder decision to walk away from Saul and leave him alive than to have killed him at the time. Remember, David is no stranger to killing. It's not something he wouldn't do. He walks away because something about his own relationship with God makes him take the harder of the two paths. So what about us then? We don't get let off quite as easily as I managed to let Daniel off the custard pies earlier on. Although I think, looking at how keen the family are, get let off for far too long. We don't get let off because here we have to follow David. How much do we take note of the law of the Lord when it comes to our decisions? Or are we, that was then, this is now? Or no, it's not really quite the same. Do we even factor in what we understand the law of the Lord to be when we make any sort of decisions together? Or is it not even on our radar? Secondly, even if we have some understanding of what we're expecting our relationship with God to look out for, how many times do we have patience to let God work things through without us pushing it? I've had many conversations over many years with people who have put the pieces together of their lives and gone, well, this must be what God is looking for. Almost invariably, that's been wrong. If you think you could predict how God is going to do something in your life, you've probably missed it completely. And yet, time and time again, I've had these conversations with people going, aha, this looks like I should do this. God is calling me to do that because that piece, that piece, and that piece, and that piece fit into place. And it's so easy to put 2 and 2 together and make 8. And then follow the wrong path, as Abraham did, and David did not. Let's try not to push our faith into the situations and decide what God is doing. That doesn't sound like a good plan. And when do we let our faith work in our harder decisions? Ones which involve maybe lots of money, ones which involve life-defining events. Are we people of faith that make that happen, even if it seems at the time to our detriment? In 1979, we were first told, and we've unfortunately had it ever since, empathy, compassion are nice to have, but what we need are strategic decisions. David rejects the strategic decisions, looks to the law of the Lord, knows that the Lord takes the long view, and uses his faith to make the harder of the 2 decisions. And when does that reflect in our lives? When is it we step back from something that will really benefit us with the long view, and understanding that it's the law of the Lord, that we're not pushing God into a corner, that our faith is really working in our lives? That's a question for me as much as for anyone else. David let Saul live, and the rest is history. When we get to those sorts of decisions, where is faith in our lives? We're going to sing again, and the words will appear on the screen.